Hey everyone, welcome back to Cooking with the Man with your host, Manseeb Khan. Today we have not one, but two incredibly talented people. We have Chef Patrick Secord and Dr. Linda Gillis. And today we're going to be making healthy pub food, believe it or not. You know what? I don't believe it myself. Let's just go inside and see what I'm talking about. Hey everyone, welcome back to Cooking with the Man with your host, Manseeb Khan from your student newspaper, The Dialogue. Today we have two incredibly talented people. Patrick, we're gonna be making healthier pub food, is that right?
That's right, yeah, we're gonna switch it up. Instead of this old fried and whatever else, we're gonna switch it up. We're gonna make a nice vegetable barley soup to start with. We're gonna bread some chicken fingers. We're gonna cut some strips and bread that with a nice oatmeal crusting. And again, they're gonna be baked, and we're gonna bake that with some sweet potato. So we'll have baked sweet potato fry.
Nice.
We're gonna end it off with a beautiful, just a simple berry dessert with a nice Marsala wine Sauvignon.
Okay, and Dr. Linda Gillis, you're gonna give us amazing nutritional advice while we cook along, right?
So I'm going to show you how healthy food, what's all the nutrients in there, and why it can taste better.
All right, can't wait.
First is I'm gonna give you the most important job of the day.
Okay.
You're gonna peel me some garlic.
Okay, I'm already sweating, but okay, I think I got
29 out today.
I know, it's gorgeous out there. I don't know why I wore a hoodie today, but...
So the garlic is actually great for you, right?
It is.
Yeah, what are the benefits of garlic?
You don't even think of it that it is a vegetable that is really healthy. And one thing it's really good for is your heart. So it really helps keep your heart healthy.
So my dad was right. They're amazing for your heart.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, so they're worth the bad breath and all.
Just don't eat them before a date, though, right? It's probably not the best idea.
Unless both of you eat it, then you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have some onions, we have some celery, we have some carrots, we have some butternut squash, a bit of turnip, and I also have, do you know what this is?
Couldn't tell you.
So you usually think of celery as that long green thing. This is actually celery root.
Huh.
Right? So the neat thing about it is it's very, very fibrous on the bottom, but it's got a really nice, intense, earthy sort of flavor to it.
Right.
So we're going to chop that up.
All right. So Linda, you've been in the field for 25 years. You actually have an expertise in childhood obesity. Can you talk a little bit about having too much sugar in your diet and how can the negative impacts of having too much sugar?
The thing about sugar is sugar actually increases your appetite. So if you have sugary, say a drink in the afternoon, then in the evening you're probably going to eat more dinner because it's going to increase that appetite.
Right.
Yeah, so then that can lead to overeating and lead to kids
Totally,
being
like
overweight.
spikes and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, crankiness too.
Yeah. Huh. Never knew that. All right, so now that we have our...
Chopped garlic, we're all set there. So let's
Teach me how to cut an onion.
show you how to cut an onion.
Okay.
So we're going to roll this in. We're going to put this into our chicken stock.
Awesome.
Or what will be our chicken stock. I'm going to get our chicken. Now, the beauty of this as well is that students, you don't have to buy expensive cuts or anything like this. If you begin to learn and do a little bit of a modicum of butchery yourself.
In a chicken breast, you have lots of iron, and students are often low in iron. So that makes them have not much energy, makes them irritable, cranky. So if you think it's just classes, might not be, might be iron.
Right.
Yeah, and so some foods are so processed that the iron's not in there anymore.
Right. Okay. So everyone just start walking around with like a raw chicken breast and you'll be good to go. Pick you up right in the morning instead of coffee.
So if I open these up, double check if you missed anything or trim, no worries. Here's what they call the fillet. Okay, so we're going to trim that off. So those are great of themselves, and we'll do, so laying it kind of more or less away from you, we're just going to do some nice strips then.
Okay.
We're going to start making our marinade. Okay. All right, so we're going to manipulate or manage it by using a little bit of acids.
Okay.
A little bit of dairy in your diet. So we're going to use a little bit of buttermilk and a little bit of plain yogurt. If you can't get a hold of buttermilk, no worries. You can just use some plain yogurt.
Okay.
And top it up with a little bit of just milk. Awesome. A little bit of yogurt, a little bit of buttermilk, and we're going to throw in a little bit of grainy mustard.
Okay.
A little tasty. A little bit of Tabasco. Let's add a bit of heat, right?
Right, of course. I like it hot.
All right, there you go. Real hot?
Nah, I think we're good. I don't want to burn my tongue.
You won't, that's okay. Alrighty. And we have a little bit of paprika. You can get smoked paprika. It's nice. It has a nice sort of flavor. You really get that smokiness right up into your. Quick mix. We won't season it just yet. We'll manage our seasoning. In goes the chicken.
Right.
Okay. So pop this in the fridge. We'll saran wrap it. Let's talk about our plum sauce. You want to have a nice dipping for it, all right? Okay. So I already cleaned up some plums for ourselves. So there's some plums in here. There's a bit of ginger. We put a little bit of garlic in as well. Not a lot, just a little bit. And lemon zest, all right? So we're going to give a little squeeze of lemon. Give your best kung fu grip.
Right.
There you go. This way you're catching the seeds as well, so you don't want the seeds. Huh. We're going to put this on. We put a little bit of honey in here as well, about a tablespoon. So that's our sugars. So we're just going to use the honey. So honey it is a sugar, but it has some other benefits. Once it starts bubbling and boiling, turn it down to a simmer, put a lid on it, and let it bubble and squeak away. It'll soften up, and then we'll puree it. Awesome. And that's it, done.
Is this the honey that is this your honey? Because I know you've been slowly getting into beekeeping, and is this like the honey that you brought from home, or?
Yeah, we had a little bit. So the bees are out and buzzing now this season. Back in about the late 80s into the 90s, they were starting to use certain amounts of pesticides, and what it's been doing is been killing off a number of the bees. So what we want to do is I want students to understand is how important such a small insect is to everything that you're getting here, all the fruits and vegetables that you'd have. An apple tree, there were no bees, you'd get about 300 apples. Once you have bees pollinating it, you have now 3,000 apples. Right. So it's important for that, so that we can sort of manage that naturally. And if you ever sit by a hive and just feel the electrical, the power of them buzzing around, it's just, I find it infectious. All right,
so we got our berries.
So let's grab another bowl here. So you got some nice blackberries, some blueberries.
So you need the fiber for many health reasons.
Right.
And it prevents so many different diseases.
Of course.
It really helps with preventing cancer and diabetes and heart disease. Keeps the plumbing going, if you know what I mean.
Of course.
We have some nice strawberries here, really big ones. So you just want to trim off the tops. So you can either scoop them out or just cut them back.
Yep.
And then these are really large. You gotta cut them down, right? So cut them in half, slice them down. We're gonna use a bit of Marsala. We're gonna use a little bit more honey as well.
Awesome.
So Marsala wine is a fortified wine, but you could just even use a white wine is totally fine with it. Because we want you to sort of start separating these egg yolks.
Okay.
So a lot of people will bang, bang, bang on the side of a bowl and it creates it. If you hold an egg with a pointed end in your hand, a nice little tap, done. Okay. What we want to do now is just pop it open. Capture all the whites in a separate bowl. So you can make a meringue with the whites. You can throw them into an egg white omelet or whatever the case may be. And we just want the yolks.
Okay.
Okay.
A lot of people think the egg yolk is not that healthy.
Right.
But a lot of the protein is also in the egg yolk. If someone has high cholesterol, then they have to watch the number of eggs, but they can still eat them, just maybe not an everyday thing. Oops.
Whoops. Accidentally dropped the egg yolk in the white egg yolk. Skills.
All right, so get a spoon, we can fish it out.
All right. Huh. I never knew that. I always thought like the egg yolk itself was not as beneficial because so many people make just egg white omelets.
Just moderation's the key. So, if we're gonna have 5 eggs every day, that's probably not moderation, not so healthy. So.
Right. Unless you're Rocky, right? Unless you're trying to.
That's right. You gotta run up those steps.
Right, you gotta run the stairs. 5 eggs, the way they go. Okay, we got the egg
whites. All right,
whites.
so the egg yolks are all set.
Whites.
Perfect. So here we'll just pop in some Marsala. And again, some honey is going to be our sweetener. Sauvignon can be done last minute. So when dinner's out, clearing the plates, somebody pops into the kitchen. Let's do one of our longer processes, and that's going to be sweet potatoes.
All right, sweet potatoes.
Where's my man?
Right here. I don't want to mix the egg yolks with sweet potatoes.
No. All right, so sweet potatoes. All I've done is sweet potatoes are excellent as well for vitamin A. So vitamin A, out of 1 cup of cooked sweet potato, you get 400% of the vitamin A of your daily requirement. So I like to leave the skins on. You give them a quick wash, and then we'll just wedge them down. So what we're going to do now is just toss them in. I like to use a little olive oil. So you can get olive oil, canola oil is fine, but just a touch of oil.
Could you talk about, Linda, I guess like the differences of having olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, canola oil? I mean, how do oils, I guess, affect our diet?
Well, I think the healthiest oils, I'd say olive oil and canola oil. And it's based on the type of fat that they have in them. So we're looking for what's called a monounsaturated.
Okay.
That's going to be your healthiest one. You want to stay away from more saturated fats, and that's when margarine or butter, like it's a harder one. Not all margarines have saturated, but we know there's very little in olive and canola oil.
Okay.
Yeah. And the thing, I was just going to say about fats is that fat actually helps fill you up. So a lot of people, that's the first thing they do is they cut out fat, but then they're hungrier.
Of course.
So again, it's that balance.
So good fats are good for you, I guess.
Yeah, they are. I've spent a lot of my career trying to convince people that. But
And we're going to pop them into the oven.
So Patrick, what are we cutting up now?
So we're just going to finish up what we need for our soup then. Our chicken stock is pretty much ready. We've had a little bit of time to let it bubble away and get what we need to get out of it. We're just going to dice up our celery root. We have some herbs here as well. We're going to use a little bit of Italian parsley and certainly some thyme. So here's a little job for you then.
All right.
We need to pick some thyme as well. So we just need the leaves, we don't need the stems. I grab it by the middle. I pull down just to get the leaves off, and then I'm going to zip it off from the tip.
Okay.
Going to roll on that?
Sure. Okay. So we're over the middle.
I think the benefit of herbs is that you can reduce things that aren't as healthy. So you don't have to add a lot of unhealthy oils or a lot of salt because you can put the herbs in, and so in that way I think that they can be quite healthy.
So I had about 2 carrots, I had about 4 stalks of celery, I had maybe 2.5 onions here, basically. Okay. This is a nice big pot of soup. So you're gonna have a great meal out of it. You can have it as an appetizer, even with a nice crusty French stick, whole grain.
Whole grain, right?
Have that as a meal unto itself is fine. You know, again, have extra, cool it down. You can freeze it. You can bring it the next day to school for lunch. Sure. All right, I'm going to get our nice, beautiful thyme here that you chopped. Okay. So last, we're going to get you to chop some parsley.
All right. Linda, could you talk about the difference, I guess, Patrick briefly talked about like having whole grains and just, I guess, like different versions of grains of like comparatively having barley in our diet.
So when we process a grain, we take a lot of the nutrients out, a lot of the vitamins, a lot of the minerals, a lot of the fiber. So in Canada, we try to put some of those nutrients back, but the majority do not get up to the amount that's in the whole wheat bread. So the white bread is missing, and the processed bread or refined breads are missing a lot of the nutrients. Yeah, so that's why we say whole grains are so much healthier. Yeah, Canada actually produces a lot of barley, which it's our 3rd biggest grain that we grow,
I think that's with beer, isn't it? Barley?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Is barley in beer, Patrick?
Barley's in beer, right?
Yeah, barley.
Yeah.
There you go. Barley's in beer.
Yeah.
Beer's good for you.
It is actually, it is.
Really?
It is. They look at heart disease, and we used to say it's wine, right? Because all those studies started in France, that people in France had healthier hearts, and they thought it was the wine. But we now know that in spirits or in beer, that 1 per day for women, 2 per day for men, anything more than that, not so good. That has some benefits for the heart because of the flavonoids that are in there.
Excellent job, great job. All right, we're gonna, again, just pop this aside. So our soup is on, our plum sauce is done, our chicken's marinating, we have our sweet potatoes in the oven, we have the berries and the sabayon all ready to go for us. As I got a little bit of panko breadcrumbs. You can just use fresh breadcrumbs, but panko breadcrumbs is fine. A little bit of paprika in it. We use a little bit of nutritional yeast. We're gonna put a little pinch of that in, all right? I have a little bit of dried Parmesan cheese. So we're gonna actually chop these down on a board. You could use a food processor, but you know what? We're gonna make everything by hand today, right? That's looking great, Mr. Mandeep. That's perfect. All right, so we're gonna shoot all that into our bowl. Our bowl up. You want to put a little bit of herbs in there as well. You may, a little bit of that, a little bit of parsley. Get a nice little flex. We'll mix. Our chicken into it. Okay, so there's a nice sort of, let's say, we'll call it a breading station. I'm a right-handed person, so I'm gonna work or process this way so that I have one wet hand, one dry hand.
Okay.
Okay. Otherwise, your hands will get.
Of course.
We'll get breaded in the process, right?
Don't want that.
So wet hand puts the wet product in. Dry hand just get some breading on top. Shake off the excess and lay it on your tray. Okay.
Right.
Does that look nice? Does that look nice? It's gonna be nice and crunchy.
Yeah. All right, okay, so it looks like we're done. We got everything. So thank you so much, Patrick. You've been amazing.
My pleasure.
Linda, you're incredible. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for watching. See you in the next time.